you on a strict regimen right now as far as dieting?
You know, I feel like if there's anything that 7 years, 8 years in competing has taught me, it's allowed myself to I can eyeball things and be like, yeah, that's about 20 grams of protein. You know, stay away from that. Too much this or that in it. Too much cheese or too much. So I don't necessarily count. I'm not on a strict regimen, especially when I travel. It's hard. But my thing right now is I just making healthy choices. So I know pretty much. Yeah, I get 4 meals a day and 1 to 2 snacks in there, depending on if I'm traveling or not. And most of those, obviously, I'll stop and get a Chick-fil-A sandwich and know that it has 46 grams of carbs, about 40 grams of protein if I add the extra chicken, and then about 8 grams of fat. So like I have my kind of the things that I know that I can do and get away with, but that has only come from years of tracking and dieting.
Absolutely. How do you feel about I mean, it's been going on for years, but the whole veganism, plant-based diets, and obviously there's been a documentary called The Game Changers where, Arnold Schwarzenegger, a lot of people from the fitness industry and MMA, combat sports, they switch over to being vegan. You ever thought about that, and have you ever tried or thought about it at all?
Yeah, I think a vegan diet. Now, looking at it, are you doing it for animal? Like my videographer, he is vegan, and he started being vegan because he was really passionate about animals. He couldn't look at bacon or pork and think, oh, that was a pig, and now I'm eating it, type of thing. So
Right.
I think that for me, I'm a lot more, since working with him, I'm a lot more open to the idea of eating less meat. I think that it's one of those things that if I had it my way, I'm from Idaho, people hunt up there. I think if we all kind of did a better job of where we sourced our food from, making sure it's not coming from, crazy farms where they don't treat animals exactly the way they should. I think we have some of that going on in America. Obviously, we're feeding 340 to 350 million people. So I think if people really took a step back and thought about where their food was coming from, the nice thing I like about when people go on a vegan diet, a lot of times it seems to cure a lot of their problems, or it seems to make them a lot healthier. But that's really just because, addition by subtraction almost. It's now you can only eat certain things. You're eating more vegetables. Guess what? Vegetables for you. The healthiest I ever felt like I was is when I was eating a balanced diet, getting ready for a show. Not necessarily the caloric deficit, but the foods I was eating. I was eating, lean sources of protein, oats, lots of vegetables. When you're dieting for a show or when you're trying to stay lean, your best friend is fibrous carbohydrates, those vegetables, and they're going to keep you full. And those things make your skin look great. They do so many things with the micronutrients that make you feel good. That I always tell people you don't have to go vegan to experience crazy health benefits. Now, obviously, if we can all cut back on, or I'm sure there's a lot of people I think that associate, being a meat eater with eating red meat all the time. I don't eat a ton of red meat. I feel like I just stay away from fattier cuts of meat. I'm not going to be eating tons of sausage and bacon and ribeyes and things like that. And I think that everything is kind of in moderation. Like I'll try some vegan options at times, whether it's like Beyond Meat patties or things like that. Like I'm open to that idea. I think the hardest thing though is to get, if you're a kid out there who watches the Game Changers and thinks, oh, and I can't, I get that question all the time. Steve, I watch the Game Changers. I'm going to go vegan. I'm going to go vegetarian.
Mm-hmm.
The hardest thing is for your everyday kid who doesn't know about complete proteins or doesn't know about how to combine foods, or, they look at their Tostitos chips and they're vegan. It's one of those things that, like, you can still eat very unhealthy. And at times I've called out my camera guy for that. I'm like, you're vegan, but I haven't seen you, eat necessarily healthy the last. So it's not necessarily, it's like any other diet. It's what you make it, and it's going to be up to you to make it healthy. Do I think you can do it? Yes. Do I think it presents some obstacles? For sure. I don't think that, it's for everyone. And I think it's one of those things that I think a lot of people need to consult their doctors with and really look at where they're going to get a lot of their complete proteins from. So, but I'm a big fan. Like I do a whey isolate at times, but I also will do a vegan protein at times, just because I feel like sometimes, depending on the protein, my stomach reacts differently.
How was the Beyond Burger, by the way? What did you think about it? The Beyond
I
Meat.
liked it. Yeah, I did the Beyond Burger, and then I really liked their Beyond Meat. Oh, sorry, that's what it is. Beyond Meat, their chorizo like hot link thing. It was, but some of those have higher, like the fat content on those is pretty high. Yeah, they taste good, but the fat content is pretty high. Some of the ingredients were less than ideal, but I thought for the average person, it's a fairly good system to get a decent amount of protein, but the fat will be high as well. It's like anything. I think if you're a vegetarian, you got to look at where you're getting the bulk of your calories from. Like, I think if I ever were to go down that road, I could do fish, eggs, and then I could cut out chicken, turkey, and red meat, and just do fish and eggs and still be okay, and protein powder. But I don't think that for me a full vegan or vegetarian diet is in the mix.